Hello and welcome back to BreImagine Bathroom Renovation Part 2. If you haven't seen the first video, let me go ahead and give you a quick recap. So this is what our bathroom looked like when we bought the house 13 years ago. And this is what it looked like right before I started the renovation. Everything looked decent because it was just covered in layers of paint. We only had a tub, so we needed to add a shower. My incredible dad helped us come and set a tub, toilet, and put a new vanity, but then everything else was up to me. Adding this vertical tile above the shower was my very first tile project. I think I chose the hardest type of tile to start with. Every single sheet needed cut because, a house from 1948 is never going to be completely plumb. I think I was most excited about adding this marble transition piece. I love adding historic touches back into our home. Next, the floor tile was a dream compared to the shower. It was actually super fun, except how time sensitive everything was. Next, I was determined to move the light fixture. The old one was in such an odd place, and I got incredibly lucky, and the wires were exactly where I needed them to be. Next, we added baseboards and crown molding and this paint. I didn't love the paint color at first, but after everything was in, I really love it. I feel like it just really brightened up the room. Next, my dad came and helped us set the vanity. We had to move the plumbing because it was coming up through the bottom, and since it's a raised vanity, we had to come through the back. I was hoping we could repurpose the granite countertop that we already had, but it was 1.5 inches short. And I thought maybe we could do something about it, so we just left it until later, and then I thought I'd figure something out. I was so excited to install this bidet on our toilet. Our other toilet has one and I can't live without it. They're not that expensive and they're so much healthier for you, and it's really easy to install. You just put it between the lid and the toilet. Then you put bumpers on the lid height to be able to make it to close properly. And then it comes with a splitter so you can get water from the tank line and then you just hook it up. I'm obsessed now also that we have an American Standard Champion toilet, and it can even flush up to 18 golf balls if you ever needed to do that. I had to add an extra elbow for the drain line for the sink and then hooked up the plumbing, which was super easy. Next, I went ahead and put all the drawers and doors back on. I didn't really love these contemporary metal knobs that the doors and drawers came with, so I found these brass ones, and I felt like they looked so much better with the walnut wood. They also came with these adjustable length screws, so I could cut them to size, which was great. This vanity brings me so much joy. I found it on Facebook Marketplace and saved over $2,000 because it was scratch and dent. It has dovetail drawers that close softly. It's just so beautiful. After I installed this light fixture and put our old mirror back up, I didn't love it there. I felt like they were both just too small. But before I went shopping, I decided to see if I could fix this major eyesore. If I could bump the granite backsplash out, I felt like there was a chance that you wouldn't notice it. So I put some scrap wood behind it so it could sit on it, and it was so heavy, especially at this awkward angle. Unfortunately, when I got it on, I realized there's still at least a 1/4 inch gap there that needed to be filled somehow. But when I was at Menards, I remembered seeing this stainless steel tile edging piece, so I thought if I could just put more wood back there and then have it overlap the backsplash and the wood, it might work out really well and look actually kind of nice, and surprisingly it did. So then I also cut a little piece on the end to hide that raw edge of the wood too. Not only did I glue the scrap wood in place, I glued all the wood to the backsplash as well. I just didn't want any movement, and then that way it can just be nice and secure. I got really lucky because as soon as I needed to put the backsplash on, my son had just gotten off the bus, so we were able to kind of hold all those moving pieces in place and push them on there together, and it worked out really good. After it was all glued in place, I caulked the seams, and after it was all said and done, I feel like it looks really great and you wouldn't even really know the difference. Then on the end, I just touched up that little piece of wood with some stain and it just blended in. Next, I wanted to add some character with some wainscoting, so I drew out this plan of how to put it all on, got the materials, and then I feel like this project was just super fun because I love using my chop saw. All the angles and cuts were just like a big puzzle, and Adam had off that day, so I employed him to hold everything for me while I used the brad nailer and just tacked it in. I also used a 4-inch block as my spacer, so it made things go a lot faster. And also because we couldn't trust the floors to be level, I used my laser level. And between those two things, it went really quickly. It was a bit challenging around the sink area to kind of figure out how I wanted it to fall because of the outlets, and then for it to match up over by the toilet area and with the towel rack and everything. But I think we came up with a plan that we really liked. Once we got it all up with temporary nails and I liked the way it looked, then I went back and finished nailing it in the rest of the way. I used wood filler to fill in the seams and the nail holes, and I had to tap a couple in just a little bit deeper. And then I used caulk to seam against the wall. Caulking is my love language. I feel like so satisfying. And then I sanded down all the nail holes to be able to make it nice and smooth. I just really wanted to blend well into the wall. I would have preferred to buy primed pieces, but they were all out, so I had to buy these raw pieces. That being said, I had to prime it with paint and then paint it a couple times just to be able to make sure it was all nice and smooth. Adding wainscoting did two great things for this room. First of all, it lengthened it and just made it nice and long. And then also it drew the attention away from any imperfections in the wall because your eye goes directly to the molding. Our shower doors were on back order and they finally came in, so we got them installed. I love the way they look in here. I chose a frosted glass, which I feel like is just easier to clean, and then this brushed nickel finish. It's so awesome we can now use our shower. Now back to the light fixture. I actually found this new one on an auction site that I love, and it's returned items. It looked great, but I know it was returned. There was one out. So I took it apart and I found the culprit. There was just a loose wire. I was able to just pop back in there and it worked perfect. I love how pretty and sparkly it is, and it added so much more light to the room having 5 bulbs instead of 3. And look at this gorgeous mirror that I also found on this auction site. I love how massive it is and how the brass just blends in well with everything else. So our local auction site is called Makeover, but I know there's tons of them around. It pays to check it out because you can just save so much money on finishes, and it's great to just be able to repurpose. The last thing to do is to do the caulking around the edges of the floor, tub, and wall. My dad had a trick to where you use a paintable clear caulk and it really just kind of blends the two together. It goes on white and then dries clear, and it looked really great when it was done. I was doing this at like 5 o'clock in the morning and I had a little creeper in the tub watching me. She's so sweet. Oh wait, that wasn't the last thing. I forgot that I had been waiting on a stain color that they were custom matching for me, so that finally came in at the paint store that we have. They did an awesome job. They actually had me mix my own with different ratios to play with. Since it was dented a little, I went ahead and put a little bit of nail filler in there and then sanded it, and you can't even tell. I feel like it's such a perfect match. I was so excited to add all the pretty stuff, so this tap lamp has been so fun to have. I turn it on every morning before the kids get out of bed so they don't have this glaring overhead light first thing in the morning, and it's just so soft and pretty. And I love this vintage inspired Delta brass hardware that was just so stunning, and with the matching toilet paper holder as well. I love the idea of hanging art above the toilet because that way it distracts you from the most unattractive thing in the room. I found these French inspired canvases from Temu and then put them in frames I found at Homegoods, and I just love the way they turned out. I chose this coat rack as our towel hanger and I hung it at waist level. That way our little people in the house can hang up their own towels. And I just want to add a little few touches here. I love that we can change these out seasonally. I love how much warmth that this walnut wood adds to the bathroom. I added a few more touches from Homegoods, and this shower is life-giving now that we have another full shower for our family. And the tile, even though it was a challenge for me, I just think it adds so much elegance to the room. I chose this very simple neutral rug, that way it doesn't take away too much from the floor, and it's washable, which is awesome. And also I feel like this hotel style curtain just makes everything look so elegant and beautiful. I can't believe it's ours. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. And if you're interested, I did a remodel on our living room as well. You can check that video out here, and I'll see you over there. Bye.